Hi, Kevin at Ledoux Guitars, the Pragmatic Luther again. Uh, I just came up with something within the last hour or so that I thought, I better share this one with some of the newer guitar makers, or even some of the experienced ones may not have thought of this one. Uh, there's always that problem of having to glue your heel blocks and your tail blocks to the rims and keeping them in position without rocking, rising, or falling against the rims. And there's probably a lot of ways to do it. And a few months ago, I even made a video on this entire jig to do that job. And this thing is cute, but it's hard to make. And I found out, you really didn't need to go that far. So I've got something that anybody can do, even if you're going to make just one guitar. This might be worthwhile. Um, I took a 3/8" carriage bolt and I drilled it through a piece of plywood, and I super glued the head in this thing so that it all stays together. That'll be handy. Just keep that in mind. Uh, I needed a piece of metal that would act like a giant clamping bar, or a giant washer, or a clamping bar like you might find on a milling machine, but it needed to be thin. So I just got a piece of 1/8" steel. I used a piece of 1/4" aluminum that works just about as well. And to hold all of this down when I clamp my work down, I use a 3/8" coupling nut, which you could use a wing nut, I suppose, but I use this because it keeps things out of the way, so to speak. So I'm going to change scenes here and show you how all of this works and what it does. Now, this whole device relies on the device that I showed you and a hole in your workbench. And what's nice about this is if you haven't got a hole in your workbench, you can easily drill one. It's not a big deal. So it's simple. By placing this thing, that is, I'm going to bring this up through the bench. By bringing it up through the bench and putting my clamp over that, and I want some balance there, so I just used another heel block, but any block of wood the same thickness as my heel would work. And then by running this nut down, I can line up my heel block and my rims, and the mold that I'm in is heavy enough to keep all of this lined up. But if it isn't, you could put a clamp over here, I suppose, to keep everything absolutely still. And once I get this all lined up, I can release this thing, take my heel block off, get the glue on it, and reposition it, and then just set it in place and bring my clamp down, give it a little push just to keep it down on the bench. And I just took a wrench and, just snug it up a little bit. Then I can put a caul here and a caul to the outside of my work, and using a clamp over here, a nice long clamp like this one, I can tighten that up, and then I tighten up my upper section. I have a caul on the outside, of course, and I just glue that right up. And that works, I will say, with impunity. It's so easy to do. I wished I'd thought of it 25 or 30 years ago. And the next idea that I came up with quickly was to make this little truck right here. I call it a truck. It's based on a block that is exactly the same width as all of my tail blocks. And that, for me, that's always 2.5 inches. I put the sides on it so that they would act as a guide for the tail block, hold it in position. And of course, this same bolt mechanism holds it all down. So you can assemble all of this. This has already been done, but you can assemble all of this and get it in position. You could still clamp your mold down to hold everything still. And this way, you get everything lined up just exactly the way you want it to be. And you can clamp this thing in here, and it works beautifully. The thing that's so nice about this is it doesn't take up any space in your tool chest or your drawers or shelves or whatever. It's just so easy to do, and anybody can do it. It occurred to me that someone may wonder, or may even ask in the comments, why didn't you use this truck at both ends. Do the tail block and the heel block with it. And there is a reason. The position, excuse me, the position of this heel block is absolutely critical, more so than the tail block. And I need to keep down pressure on this so that it does not rise and so that there's no pitch and yaw, so to speak, to this thing. And that's why I did it the way shown earlier in the video. The truck is very good at surrounding the tail block and holding it vertically. And that's all it does. I don't need down pressure on it as long as I've got it lined up correctly the way it's supposed to be. And this allows me to do that and still get my clamps in. I also want to refer back here earlier in the video when you saw me actually clamping this thing in, and I mentioned that I used this this coupler nut. I could have used a wing nut, but when you saw the clamp come in here, it might get in the way. That is, the wing nut might get in the way of the clamp, and that's why I selected the coupler nut. So just a couple of addendum ideas there for you. Thanks again for watching. Hope you put a like on this video and maybe some of the others if you watch them. Please subscribe to my channel if you like what you see. Thanks for watching again.